This bulletin: Fiji to attend forum meetings but Prime Minister to stay away from leaders' meeting. SODELPA member gets ready to be sworn in as new MP. And Fiji National Provident Fund ready for new leadership. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has set the record straight on Fiji's approach towards regional architecture and its participation in the Pacific Islands Forum. He told a regional workshop of the Pacific Islands Development Forum that Fiji will participate in all forum meetings, but he won't. Ali Kimbia has more.
The headquarters of the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat will remain in Suva. However, Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has made his stand clear on participating in any forum leaders meeting.
But as head of government, I will not participate in any forum leaders meeting until the issue of the undue influence of Australia and New Zealand and our divergence of views is addressed. Australia and New Zealand are not island nations, and we believe that they are more development partners such as the European Union, China, India, South Korea, Indonesia and the rest.
Bainimarama says this is not some ill-considered position based on resentment against Australia and New Zealand for their punitive attitude towards Fiji's reform program.
This is not me mouthing off, as the New Zealand Prime Minister so condescendingly put it. But as things stand, we do not see Fiji's interests reflected in the stance being taken by Australia and New Zealand, and especially on the biggest threat to our security we have ever faced collectively as Pacific Islanders, the rising levels caused by climate change.
Bainimarama made the comments at the opening of the first regional meeting on the PIDF agreement. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has made it clear that Fiji is not putting forward the PIDF as a competitor for any existing organization, but Fiji is providing a space for everyone to have their opinions heard. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
SODELPA member Mikaele Lewere says his appointment to Parliament was delayed because of his re-employment with the Fijian Teachers Association after the elections. According to results from the election, Lewere is next in line to take up the seat left vacant after the passing of Ratuviliame Tangiveitaua in March. Maggie Boyle has the details.
A sigh of relief as incumbent MP Mikaele Lewere attends his first caucus meeting today. He's scheduled to officially be sworn into Parliament next week. However, the road to the August sitting hasn't been smooth because his re-employment with the union after the election has thrown his eligibility into contention. He has since resigned.
The opposition made its views known in terms of the electoral decree, which says not that I had breached, which in fact on humanitarian grounds, someone has to eat after the elections. And if someone does this, presuming that, after the election results were announced, there's no presuming that someone will die or vacating a seat.
Under Section 57 of the 2013 Constitution, a person who holds a public office is deemed to have vacated that office at the time at which his or her signed nomination as a candidate for election to Parliament is delivered to the relevant returning officer. Subsection 2 and 3 reads that public office refers to any office in a trade union registered under ERP or any office in any federation, congress, council or affiliation of trade unions. Lewere says they have been collaborative efforts by both sides of the House to secure his seat.
I had resigned from the Association of Fijian Teachers. I resigned and the legislators were finished, and that's how the decision came. But actually, it was also the contribution made by the opposition leader, Rote Mumukepa, that made that possible as well, where she approached the Attorney General.
Parliament will begin a 2-week sitting Monday when Lewere is due to be sworn in. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The Fijian Electoral Commission is yet to release its response to our questions about Lewere's eligibility as a Member of Parliament. FBC News was informed that a press release is being prepared. However, it is yet to be released. Rokotui Ra Mosese Nakoroi has disassociated himself and the province from a group that is reportedly trying to gather support to form a breakaway state for Ra. Savara Tambor reports SODELPA has also distanced itself from reports that it is linked to the group.
The people of Ra have been advised by their provincial administrator not to support moves that would break up the solidarity of the province. The advice comes after reports that certain individuals claiming to be from Ra are leading moves to form a breakaway state from the province, known as the Ra Sovereign Christian State.
We had a meeting in January and we will discuss the issue at length. And they have showed their anonymous decision that they are against the group to set up or to establish the Matentu Bonua in the province of Ra.
Mosese Nakoroi says the Ra community in Australia had also sought advice after a similar movement emerged there, purportedly fighting for what the people of Ra want. These pictures, which appeared on social media site Facebook, show the flag designed for the so-called Ra Sovereign Christian State, along with one for the so-called Nanronganabosa Sovereign Christian State. Reports also emerged on Facebook that a group of Fijians from the two groups in Australia had marched to the New South Wales Parliament.
We have advised them on the decision of Rambosagun of Ra, as they are against the group, and that means that the other members of the province of Ra in Fiji or where in overseas, they should refrain from them in involving themselves with the group.
A member of SODELPA, Nanise Nangusuda, who is from Ra, indicated her support by commenting on the group's Facebook page. However, the party's General Secretary, Pio Tambaiwalu, says SODELPA is not a part of the group.
The party does not have linkages to a so-called Christian state, as you're stating. And secondly, we don't have the details on what really is going on.
The two groups are reportedly linked to the Fiji democracy movement in Sydney and headed by one Oni Kerwin. On her Facebook page, Kerwin is appealing to all indigenous Fijians in Fiji and around the world to help Nanronganabosa and Ra autonomous governments on their road to full nationhood, expected to be achieved by October 2015. Police Chief of Intelligence and Investigations, ACP Henry Brown, says an investigation file has been submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution into a report of the group. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
The Fiji National Provident Fund is ready for new leadership. Board Chair Jit Korogora says Chief Executive Aisake Taito's departure paves the way for the fund to start a new course. Edwin Nunn reports.
The Fiji National Provident Fund is at the end of years of reform to make it stable in the long run, all done under the leadership of Aisake Taito.
He's gone through a very, very tough period. The last 7 years probably in the history of FNPF and in the country has been very, very stressful, and so it's taken a toll on everybody, including the board, management and the CEO.
When Taito came into the Fiji National Provident Fund, its administration and finances were in disarray and multi-million-dollar investments were falling through. The board says those days are long gone. Now is the time to look to the future, and whoever takes over as chief executive is expected to take things up a few notches.
Now that the fund is stable, we probably need another style of leadership. Not that Mr. Taito was bad or good. We all need different styles of leadership for different organizations, because the challenges that you face are not the same.
Kodagoda says the reforms undertaken during Taito's tenure have set the FNPF on firm ground for long-term success and viable returns for members. The CEO's post will be advertised in about 6 weeks. Edwin Nunn, FBC News.
Coming up, Army monitors situation in Golan Heights after reports of fresh fighting near Camp Zwani.
Ya vino pali wana topa chuma ini wasi kama kuna bula FM nambang diwa ina seri na ngona ni ndende manda ke Central Rental Sapo ke na rusu na kita minichi me ba na koloko. Ni sabula.
Oya wa wati soni dalai.
Gua ngai mosi don.
Nama kikirau kena tolu kena betu. Ena via kabi moliti kena porombuka.
Gua dia na lali ne kabi. Bula FM nambang dua ina seri.
Fijian soldiers serving in a UN mission in the Golan Heights are safe after reports of a skirmish near Camp Ziwani. Mortar rounds fired from Syria have landed nearby in the last few days following clashes between Syrian armed forces and anti-government forces. Akosita Tale reports.
About 300 Fijian soldiers are serving in the UN Disengagement Observation Force in the Golan Heights. In the latest round of fighting close to the camp, 2 soldiers from Nepal were injured in an exchange between Syrian soldiers and anti-government forces.
None of our peacekeepers were injured, and we are confident in the actions taken by UNDOF headquarters for their safety in taking shelter and other measures that they have taken.
Colonel Sitiven Ngiliho has reassured the soldiers' families that they are being looked after well.
They are safe. They are on the Israeli side of the tactical fence or the occupied Golan Heights. And they are well looked after, and we are confident in the decisions of UNDOF headquarters and their contingent commander, Colonel Kaluniwai.
The military and UNDOF are closely monitoring the situation on the ground. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
The Fiji Military Forces is mourning the loss of its former Chief of Staff of Operations, Lieutenant Colonel Amani Suliano, who has died in China. Land Force Commander Colonel Sitiven Ngiliho has confirmed to FBC News they have lost one of their most senior officers in the last 24 hours. Suliano collapsed and was rushed to hospital, but attempts to revive him failed. Ngiliho says they've informed Suliano's next of kin and are waiting the repatriation of his body before they finalize details of his military funeral. Suliano was studying at the Chinese War College in Beijing. The Pacific needs to stand up for itself and not rely on the outside world to help preserve resources. This was the message from the Prime Minister to the Pacific Green Growth Leaders Coalition retreat in Natandola, Singatoka. Akosita Tale reports.
Pacific Island countries have been reminded that a soft approach to preservation of resources is over. The participants, who included Tonga's Prime Minister Akilisi Pohiva, have been reminded to be more frank and aggressive towards refining areas that require immediate attention.
We have begun to learn from bitter experience that we must stand up for ourselves, because our interests are not necessarily those of others, including some of our neighbors. And nowhere is the chasm between our interests and the interests of others more acute than on the most pressing issue of all.
The Prime Minister says there's a need to forge a new development model for Pacific Islanders, one that's more holistic, integrated, inclusive and sustainable.
And we must continually remind our policymakers in government and the business community of the need to put sustainability and environmental protection as the overriding priority in any development proposal. We need more scrutiny, not less, to ensure that proper standards are met.
The public has been reminded to be responsible and protect our immediate surroundings. This means sustainability should be at the core of everything we do. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
9 retired Fijian midwives are working at the maternity ward of the Port Vila Central Hospital in Vanuatu. Julie Vatuwaliwali with the story.
The Fiji midwives are part of the assistance from the UN and Fiji in the wake of Cyclone Pam. Retired midwife Alice Sefeti, now stationed in Vanuatu, says they enjoy helping their colleagues in Port Vila, where there are currently about 300 births per month.
Just coming in to work with them. So we are helping them in any way they want, any way they can, we can. And we learn from each other at the same time.
Unesi Sikivo says the Fijian midwives are also in Vanuatu to share the professional knowledge with midwives there.
We also want to share our experience back at home, to come and share, so that the standard will lift up and the service will be a quality one.
The Fiji midwives are part of the UN Population Fund's contribution to the Cyclone Pam response in collaboration with the Fiji and Vanuatu Ministries for Health. Julie Vatuwaliwali, FBC News.
Law enforcement officers and producers are learning about intellectual property rights and protection of cultural industries. The workshop will also look at the impacts on piracy of local and national cultural industries. Savara Tambua has more.
Cultural industries, sometimes also known as creative industries, combine the creation, production and distribution of goods and services. like these woven baskets that are cultural in nature. They are usually protected by intellectual property rights. Regional intellectual property specialist Peter Nyumbalavu hopes the workshop will help the Fijian cultural industry reach its full potential.
Because we look at the cultural industries, as there is a potential behind it in terms of the economy, and this, by protecting the intellectual property of creators, will one way of boosting their respective business and enhancing their industries.
Fiji Arts Council Director Laisia Sabikoso says their participants will be able to understand intellectual property laws and how they can be applied to their products.
This is a very crucial aspect of our artists, and especially in curbing intellectual property that has been abused, violated. A lot of them, it's been an outcry for most of our producers and musicians and dancers and artists, I guess. And it's an issue that needs to be addressed now because they're losing out as far as the economic value of their products. And so we're hoping that, that by the end of the workshop we'll have a positive outcome.
Cultural industries represent a wealth of traditions, from ancient practices to contemporary cultural expressions. If harnessed successfully, they have the potential to become drivers of economic growth and to enhance sustainable development and well-being. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
We turn to sports now. Welcome back, Jamie. What's the latest?
Thank you, Jackie. Coming up in sports after the break, Ben Ryan confident the Fiji 7 side is well prepared for the Glasgow tournament, and a preview of the second round of Vodafone Fiji Fact Games. This and more coming up.
छू 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 हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची, इट्स हॉट।
The Chicken Express Nandi football side promises to step up its game against Lautoka in the Vodafone Fiji Fact tomorrow. Although the defending champions thrashed Nandrunga 4-0 in their first match last Sunday, Nandi football president Navnida Gaunda believes there is still room for improvement. Josephine Navula has the details.
Despite the brilliant win against Nandrunga, the Jet Setters will need to improve in some areas to lift their performance tomorrow.
In the first half, we missed a lot of goals. And I think that the coaches have worked out that on the field of how to make goals and create spaces. And I think so that is the area we need to improve in this game.
The Nandi side is not underestimating any team.
We know that the Lautoka is a very powerful side, and the coaches and managers have made a plan. I think so they'll play with that plan. But hopefully everything goes in our favor, and the players play according to what the coaches have said. I think so then it will be in our side.
Nandi players know the pressure is on them as they are playing on home turf, and they are encouraging their fans to show up and support them tomorrow. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
Prince Charles Park will be ready to host the second round of Vodafone Fiji Fact Games tomorrow. The sports venue in Nandi has been under maintenance for the past few weeks, and today Town Council workers were laying the final touches before it opens for the football tournament. During the maintenance, the drainage system was improved to ensure minimal disruptions during unfavorable weather. The first game to be played at the grounds tomorrow will be between Vodafone Fiji Fact defending champions Nandi and Lautoka. And now with an update of what to expect in the next round of Vodafone Fiji Fact Games, FBC sports editor Indra Singh joins us live from Prince Charles Park. Bola Indra.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Welcome from Prince Charles Park in Nandi, where the Vodafone Fiji Fact, as you mentioned earlier on, gets underway tomorrow. Beautiful surroundings. It's only actions ready to go. Joining me tonight is Fiji FA Vice President Tarunesh Reddy. Tarunesh, as we mentioned, the Vodafone Fiji Fact all ready to roll from tomorrow afternoon. Match day 2.
Yes, Indra, we are really looking forward to it to start proper here in the Prince Charles Park tomorrow.
Tarnesh, the Vodafone Fiji Under-20s will be part of it as we farewell them on a Tuesday before they head off for the World Cup to Australia and then to New Zealand.
Yes, the Vodafone Fiji Under-20 team will be here tomorrow to be part of the official opening of the 2015 Vodafone Fiji Fact here at Prince Charles Park. Yep, they will flying off to Sydney on the 12th to play 2 warm-up matches against Mexico Under-20 and Colombian Under-20, and they'll be in New Zealand on the 19th of this month.
Tarnesh, the viewers all know it. This is the biggest ever event for Fijian football, and that is the World Cup. Your message to the fans, because the Under-20s will be here maybe for the last time for the public to see them?
Yes, they will be departing on the 12th, like I've said. They will not be coming back to Fiji, straight from there to New Zealand, to Auckland, and on the 28th to Christchurch. The message to the fans, this is the first team which has qualified for the age group Under-20 World Cup. Please support the team. They need your support. They're flying the country banner, the country flag. They need the support. They need the support of the people, the soccer-loving public of Fiji, and not forgetting the other, not only soccer followers, but the others that they are there to represent the country.
Just finally, Tarnesh, the Vodafone Fiji Fact, the first tournament of the year. We've seen 4 games last weekend. Should be an exciting next 4 days coming up.
Yeah, if you have seen the last week's first round of the games, there were some interesting results, and in the 2 venues at Dakambo Park and in Govin Park, the tournament proper starts here tomorrow. There will be some very interesting matches tomorrow. Not only tomorrow, come Friday, Saturday. So remember the soccer-loving public of Nandi throughout the country, they come and watch some interesting football here starting tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Tarnesh. That is Tarnesh Reddy, the Fiji FA Vice President. He's also the team director for the National Under-20 side, the Vodafone side that's off to the World Cup. We'll be back again tomorrow with the very best football action from here in Prince Charles Park. Who will be the 4 teams to feature on Saturday afternoon in the semi-finals? We'll only find out after the completion of pool games on Friday. Meanwhile, it's back to you, Jamie, with the rest of the sports news.
Thank you very much, Indra, for that update. And a reminder, you can catch live commentary from 2:30 p.m. tomorrow on Radio Fiji 2 of the Mba versus Nadrunga and Rio versus Lambasa match with Raymond Stoddard. Now, there isn't too much on the mind of Vodafone Fiji Sevens coach Ben Ryan this week, except to ensure the side is well prepared for the final 2 legs of the World 7 Series. Ryan says there's an air of confidence within the team camp of a good outing in the Glasgow Sevens this weekend.
Well, we know it's been a long series. We've worked hard all the way through the year, and we're in a great position now. So for me, I'm just concentrating on the basics, making sure I'm working as hard as I can, that we're not forgetting anything. We stick to our simple things, don't try and change too much now at the end of the season. The boys know exactly what they need to do on and off the field, and there's a nice feel-good factor here, and I want to retain that for the next 2 weeks.
The Glasgow Sevens kicks off on Saturday evening with Fiji to take on Wales in its opening pool match at 11:42 p.m. And of course, you can catch live coverage right here on FBC TV as well as radio commentary on Bull FM with Satish Narayan. Now, to participate in Sevens Rugby's maiden appearance in the Olympic Games in Brazil next year would be the pinnacle of any Sevens player. Such is the case for Fiji halfback Jerry Tuwai, who says although it's hard not to get excited about participating in the games, he is focused on helping the national side perform well in the Glasgow and London tournaments to secure Fiji's 2nd World 7 Series title.
For now, I don't think about my career, I think about the team. So, to qualify for the Olympics, it's good for the country and for me as an individual and for the team.
Fiji only needs to reach the Cup quarterfinals of the Glasgow Sevens to automatically qualify for the Rio Olympics. The 2015 Vodafone Rugby League competition was launched today. 2 new teams will take part in this year's top 8 competition, with Kinoya Sea Eagles and Nandi Eels coming in as newcomers. The teams were presented with their new jerseys today. The first round of matches will be played this Saturday at Buckers Park in Suva. And that wraps up our sports bulletin for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
A team of experts from India will oversee the construction of an electricity cogeneration plant in Ba. Work on the $142 million plant is expected to begin in September. Fiji Sugar Corporation Executive Chair Abdul Khan says the Exim Bank of India has provided a loan for the project. One of the conditions for the loan is to purchase machinery from India. Today saw cloudy skies, scattered showers and brisk winds over most of the country. The strong southeast winds kept temperatures down in the east, with 27 recorded as the high in Suva. It was warmer to the west where Nandi hit 32 today. We can expect another cool night tonight with temperatures in the low 20s. For tomorrow, the general spell of cloudy, wet weather continues, with occasional showers forecast in most of the country. Isolated heavy rainfall is possible. And Friday's forecast more of the same, occasional showers over most places, gusty winds and rough seas. And recapping our top stories, Prime Minister Vanuatu Marama says Fiji will participate in all foreign meetings, but he won't. SODELPA member Mikaele Lewere attended his first caucus meeting today as he prepares to take up a seat in Parliament. And Fijian soldiers serving in a UN mission in the Golan Heights are safe after reports of a skirmish near Camp Zuani. Now to our poll question for this week, we're asking, do we have an accurate picture of the crime rate? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply #FBC News. That's our news for tonight. Join us again tomorrow. Bye for now.